The person test for me is I go up to someone and tell them, "Oh my gosh, I would so get chicken wings right now." And if they go, "Yes, I would so get chicken wings with you," I take that as a positive. And people were just loving the chicken wing train. And that's how we went after chicken wings.
Starting or growing your business is hard work. But now you are listening to the Better Business Podcast with me, Steve Cook, and I'm going to try and make it a little easier on you. We on this podcast help you grow a better business with real advice from professionals, and today is no different. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Better Business Podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Cook, and my guest is a man by the name of Will Gerstein. He has always been something of an entrepreneur, starting small businesses at a very young age. At 18, he ventured out by himself to found Bucket Wings, which is a small chicken wing joint that has grown over the past 16 months into a full-fledged restaurant, which is nationally recognized social media brand with over 50,000 followers. Currently, Will holds recognition for outstanding entrepreneurship and community involvement from the U.S. House of Representatives and is working towards franchising his restaurant across the U.S. Will, before you say anything, tell these people after reading that bio how old you are.
I'm 19 years old right now, and I started my business when I was 18.
Freaking Will is 19 years old. So if you feel crappy about yourself and you're listening to this thinking that you haven't done anything with your life yet, now you feel even crappier because a 19-year-old is lapping all of us in business. And Will, learning about you through some preparation in this and reading your bio really I have a ton of respect for you, and that's what I want to talk to you about today is how can young people get into business confidently. And I hope that we'll get a little bit of that through some of the answers that you give. Why do you have this entrepreneurial spirit? What did your parents do to get you into business?
I was very lucky growing up. It's all about, I feel, about how, kind of what you're seeing when you're a really young kid. I was grown into the entrepreneurial spirit. My father has owned some businesses, started them from scratch. My mother owns like a tutoring business. She's a teacher. So, business has always been around me. And, from the very young age, all I remember being at dinner tables is my dad talking about the latest new business or the new invention he wants to make, and me and my brothers chiming in about, oh, you should add this or you should add that, or we could totally do this together. So having that just around me 24/7 as a kid, um, it made me kind of look up to my dad, look up to my older brothers, and want to be just like them. So I think, being a kid and being surrounded by it at a young age and kind of instilling it in your brain is really important. So when you grow up, you kind of keep it with you.
And so, like, honestly, have you ever thought about doing something else? Like, you're going to college, so anything else?
I want to learn a lot in college, but I want to do business. I've known it since I was 11 years old. I remember telling my dad, I'm going to own a business. I'm going to run a business. Um, I love learning about other stuff, but I will not lie. I have a lot more fun in my business classes than I do in any history class. And you will not catch me taking a chemistry class anytime in my life. So business is definitely what I want to do.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So I was raised carbon copy of what you're talking about. We never talked about anything but business. My parents has always have owned businesses from when I, kind of can remember and older. Um, that was a hobby in my house to talk about, same exact situation as you're talking about. I also went to college and completed college. I have no idea why, and you're doing the same thing. Do you think that that's something that your parents like kind of said, "Hey, why don't you go ahead and go to college?" Or do you feel weird not going to college when all your friends are? Or why pursue secondary education?
I think that secondary education has a lot more benefits than I think people think. I think first off, the network that you create at college is very important. I've met, professors and business leaders in my college community that I would have met if I was just somebody trying to start on my own. At the same time, although sometimes I like to think I know everything, I don't know everything, and I
You can
need
still learn more.
people. There's still so much
Sure.
opportunity to learn more. I mean, right now, for example, I'm taking an accounting class. Last year, when I was running my business, I was trying to run our books by myself, and I can
Yeah.
tell you this summer it's going to be a lot smoother after taking a course in college.
Yeah.
Um, and I get asked all the time, "Why are you in college? Pursue your business, drop out." Also, having that degree just gives me a lot of a safe net. I feel like it's
Security.
in today's world, people really love the idea of the college certificate, um, and I see the importance of that and the importance of going to college.
So let's talk about some of the businesses you've done. Just give a quick, maybe 1 minute background before we get to the chicken. Let's talk about all the random crap that you've done kind of growing up.
So much random crap. So I have my first little business was me and my older brother when I was 11 and he was probably 15. And we live on this lake, and people would go about 30 minutes onto the lake and they would sit there, they would bring snacks and drinks. But I remember always as a kid screaming to my dad, "I want ice cream." And my dad would go, "We're not turning the boat around to go get ice cream." And I know so many little kids felt, excuse me, the same way as me. So we created an on the water delivery system. We had dry ice in a styrofoam cooler. We went to Costco and bought drumsticks and Klondike bars and pre scooped ice cream. Everything was pre-packaged. And we would canoe out to the lake. And we went from a canoe
Canoe.
to a mini boat. We went from a canoe to a mini boat to a jet ski. So it ended at a jet ski. But you gotta imagine these little kids, and we had a sign that said ice cream, and we had a little menu on the back, and we were cash only, and we just marked the hell out of prepackaged ice cream, and we did that for a long time. And there's hilarious stories about we created our brand, and it was like bucket ice cream was the name of it, so we did that. So that was kind of my first venture. And then my next little business I did was called Single Stop Marketing, which was an online marketing firm that didn't really go very far. But the whole kind of concept is this is where I really created a passion for social media, which comes later. And I was just trying to go to, probably older doctors, older lawyers, people who don't understand Google ads or social media, and just teach them and do it for them. And it's not very hard, and hopefully make some good money. So we did graphic design. I had a little team of people that helped me with graphic design, and it was really fun. We created a lot of cool connections, but it was definitely not something that I saw being humongous or something I wanted to do. But so those were two of my pretty big business ventures. And I was about 16 when I did that one. Like 11 and 16 were the two kind of years before Bucket Wings that I started.
So getting into bucket wings, set the scene here. It's your senior year of high school. COVID hits. You're like every other senior that year. Probably a lot of you were mad or disappointed or whatever, missing out on some things. You, on the other hand, take this opportunity to open a new business, which probably would blow a lot of high schoolers' minds. And talk about that a little bit.
COVID was, a blessing in disguise when it comes to time. What I tell
Sure.
people is that I would have not been able to start my business if I was in school. Calling government agencies to get my license, they're open 10 to 3 on a Tuesday. And you got to be calling them and sitting on hold. And there's no chance to do any of that if you're in class. So
And you're on
COVID
hold for
gave
like 2 hours half the
literally,
time.
literally half the time you're on hold. So it was crazy that COVID gave me this time and this chance. And I was looking and I said, I've got time. I was working at Subway. I hated it. I did not love working at Subway. Minimum wage was not for me. I said, my dad's rule growing up was always have a job. So I said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start my own wing restaurant." And, COVID gave me the time and the opportunity to be working 9 to 5 on Excel spreadsheets and, sourcing chicken and calling people and getting advice. So COVID really did give me the opportunity to try it. It didn't give me the opportunity to succeed. It gave me the opportunity to try it, which was really important. So I definitely could have not done and been where I am today if COVID had not kicked me out of school.
Why chicken wings? Why did you do this?
Why chicken wings? Okay. So,
Because that's the
um,
only thing a high school/college kid can make, huh?
I'm not a cook. So many people come up to me and they hand me a raw pound of chicken wings, and they say, "Make me something good, Wing King." I mean, that's like my nickname. They go, "Make me something good, Wing King," and I go, "I can't." And they go, "What do you mean you can't?" And I go, "I know how to cook a bucket wing, which is we take our chicken, we have our seasoning, we stick them in our air fryers that I had a group of people help me program, and anybody can make a bucket wing if you learn the secret recipe. I'm not a cook, and chicken wings are easy. They were my favorite food, and most importantly, there was a market for it. So we opened the first bucket wings on a small little lake in Wisconsin, and there was a pizza parlor, there was a burger shop, there was a diner, there was a fine like restaurant, and that was it. We needed lake food. And I thought chicken wings were going to be lake food. And I do, the person test. We're about to start a new one here, and I can tell you that the person test for me is I go up to someone and tell them, "Oh my gosh, I would so get chicken wings right now." And if they go, "Yes, I would so get chicken wings with you," I take that as a positive. And people were just loving the chicken wing train. And that's how we went after chicken wings.
So you decided to do that. I can only imagine. I mean, me, I would have done like all the research and like been sold on it in my mind and then talked to my parents about it. What it did you do this something similar, or how did you go about that?
So the
Because you're of
parents
it,
are.
like you're at home at this point, right?
I'm at home. I'm
Yeah.
totally at home. I specifically remember we were in the car, and I'd had this idea, and we were driving, and I was like, "Hey, mom, dad, like I'm gonna start like a chicken wing joint." And my dad goes, "Hell yeah, like let's go." My dad was like, "Chicken wings, like let's do it." My mom super supportive, but she was for a second she was like, what are you talking about? She's like, chicken wings, like a restaurant, like you have no idea. She goes, first off, she goes, "You don't know how to cook a chicken wing." She goes, "I cook you dinner every night." She's like, "You don't know how to cook." She goes, "Where, like, you've got some money, but like, yeah, you got to figure this out. Where are you going to find employees? You don't have a space. You don't got nothing." Like, my mom was like, out of left field, "You just can't make these claims that you're going to start a chicken wing joint." And that for me was, they gave me the A-OK to start looking. Of course, they wanted me to have something to do. Um, and we started looking at it, and yeah, that was kind of the start of it. Parents were on board. They said if I did my research, I used my own money, they were fine with it.
So let's talk about this. Most kids at your age, they might have this entrepreneurial spirit, and really even kids that are older than you, people coming out of college or 24 to 30-year olds that hate their job right now and they've always wanted to start their own business. One of the primary reasons of not to is because I don't have the money to, or I can't afford to take off from work or whatever. Obviously, the taking off from paying the bills and all that stuff was a little bit, that load was somewhat lightened for you, I'm sure, living at home,
Definitely.
and you used your advantages, obviously. But talk about the not having money. How did you get around that?
So it's a great question. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I call it the select and kind of substitute. So what I did is went to Walgreens, got a huge piece of paper, and I listed everything I would need to start a chicken wing business. So like the first thing you need is deep fryers, right? So I listed out deep fryers, I needed bowls, I needed sauces, I need chicken. So in the left hand column, I put all of that down, and then I put the price tags. A deep fryer is 10 grand. I don't
Right.
have the money for a deep fryer. So that's why I called the select and substitute. So I look at these things and I say, this is what I need. What is the most cost effective way to get around it? So here's a great example. A deep fryer is 10 grand. A air fryer from Kohl's is $242. I started my restaurant with a non-commercial, a residential $242 air fryer from Kohl's. That saved me $9,500.
I love this. And so let me ask you this though. Um, there doesn't stop there. Most restaurants take $50,000 to open, or $100,000. What else did you go through? I mean, I'm thinking of the location, all of that type of stuff. How
So
did you get around all this?
so location, right? So that was actually probably number one, right? Location. Leases are thousands of dollars. You have to sign them for a year. So I said, what's a way to substitute a full-on restaurant? A catering commercial kitchen.
Okay.
So I got on my phone and I called every commercial kitchen in my area, and I said, look, You usually have caterers come in and book 2-hour slots. I want to book a 6-hour slot 3 days a week for the whole summer. And I will guarantee you revenue on these days. And probably half of them reached back to me. One of them was serious. And that's the location where Bucket Wings started. So again, the substitute property was I started my restaurant out of a commercial kitchen where I was literally paying $18 an hour. No money guaranteed by the hour, saving cash, no money down, nothing.
That's awesome. Okay,
It,
so you do that, so what? You just go to this commercial kitchen. Walk me through a little bit farther along. You decide that you're going to do it. You name it. All of that type of stuff. Walk me through the next steps. You just started cooking chicken wings, and here we go, or what?
so it's I call it the domino effect. It was one after another, right? So, and I think it's really important when starting a business, you kind of lay out your domino effect. So mine was I found the kitchen. Next was I gotta make sure I get my business license before I take time to do everything else, right? Let me get my business license.
So you made this legit. I mean, this wasn't some
No,
bunch of high
this
school
was
kids trying to get by. I mean, this was legit
m-
business.
my father's one rule. He said I can do this. His number one rule was everything will be done to the T on a legal side.
Hmm,
He says that he had seen too many people get in trouble down the road that if you don't create a sound foundation, you will not succeed and something will crack.
yeah,
So he helped me. My dad was a very big help in the beginning was right. I applied LLC, business license, food vendor's license. I have 3 different types of insurance, right? I have my safe food handling license. That was the first 3 weeks was just straight up dealing with the government, trying to make
yeah.
sure everything was covered. Employee insurance, food insurance, customer insurance. There's a lot of stuff that goes in insurance wise when it comes to food. And I learned
No
about
kidding.
all of it.
Yeah.
So like that was the second part. Then it was okay, we gotta make sure these chickens are good. I found a product that cooked well in an air fryer. Found it from a food provider. They shipped to us. So, okay, now we got our chicken. So I know how I'm going to cook it. I know what I'm going to cook. I'm legal. I got a business. I got a place. So the next thing was sauces, right? A big expense. You want good sauces. Sauces are expensive to make and they're hard to make. I want to go back to that. I'm not a cook. So what we did is I shipped in 158 sauces to my house and we made chicken wings and I brought over all my best friends. This is probably my best friend's favorite day ever.
It's
And we
probably
just
the coolest
tried,
party in the world.
we just tried thousands of chicken wings and we blind tasted them and we narrowed it down to the best 13 sauces. So we had 20 different types of barbecue. So I was like, you know what? This is a very funny and a story that I think says a lot. I went and grabbed a bunch of different barbecues from Walmart generic brand
Mhm.
to Sweet Baby Ray's, all the way to shipping in stuff from down south and Papa Bob's little shop where he's charging me triple as much as the store stuff, but I'm getting the best sauces. Blind tasting. You know what barbecue sauce unanimously won best sauce? 100% votes.
Tell me.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Really?
Really.
It's
I
my wife's
tested it
favorite.
again. There you go. People love it.
Huh.
So right, so we went with Sweet Baby Ray's, and people give me crap all the time about how are you going to be a great restaurant and use a name brand barbecue sauce because it's what people like.
Yeah. That's
And
incredible.
so some of our sauces are really big names. I mean, like Frank's hot sauce has to be on the menu. Has to. People, I tried different hot sauces. Got to be Frank's. Now, don't get me wrong. We ship in a lot of small stuff from Buffalo, from California. We ship in tons of different stuff. So all these sauces are shipped in. So now I got my sauces. Now it's go time. It was go time from there. Like it was blindly. I went through through it all blindly. I sometimes I don't know how I did it, but we got to the point where we were ready to open. Um, at start, I had no employees. It was me and my best friend. He was my first employee. It was 2 air fryers, me and my best friend in a commercial kitchen. This is before I had touched social media. All I had done was put Google ads out, and I bought a little poster in town. Um, and I don't want people to think I was like an overnight sensation that we started selling thousands of wings night one. We were slow the first couple weeks.
Okay,
Um,
so you're all delivery, right? I mean,
so
y
we started as fully takeout.
takeout. Okay, so it wasn't even delivery. Okay, okay.
Little side door on a commercial kitchen. You knocked on the door, we handed you your food.
Get out of here. Okay, so how did you get the orders in? You set up a website or what?
So this is another thing, and I know your whole thing's about how do you help people create businesses.
Sure.
In today's world, there is so much support. I use Square.
Okay.
Square runs my taxes, my website, my POS, my payroll, and all back end ordering operations for $12 a month.
It's perfect for a business like yours.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's everything. So that's what our whole platform was built on. It took me a week, and we use the same everything to this day.
super cool. Okay, awesome. That's super cool. So, they start coming in I mean, like, what? You had, like, 1 order the first day or what?
So first day, my parents, wanting to be really supportive, like reach out to everybody we know. First night, we are hopping. Second night, we're not hopping. So, but you got to remember, this is coming from a kid who was working at Subway. I was making 7.25 an hour before taxes. So, I mean, I think the first couple nights after paying my best friend, he was an employee. I love him. He was an employee. He wasn't work touching the business. The first couple nights, I remember coming home making like 18 bucks an hour, and I was like, after everything, I was like, that night I profited $18 an hour. I remember walking into my parents with like chest up, feeling like $1 million. I was like,
I'm the man of
18.
the house.
I am the man of the house now. I just made 1850 by myself, which is so funny because like with how big we are now, like I just laugh at myself thinking that that was like our peak, 1850 an hour. But so yeah, we really weren't that big in the beginning until social media. That was the turning point. On the third week is when we opened social media.
So, what do you do on social media that gets attention? Is it because 'cause you're young? Is it because 'cause you're a bunch of funny guys? Or why do you think that, your social media is different from any regular restaurant?
We are very unique in the fact that we have, I call it the three prong tactic on TikTok that I think
Okay.
is applicable to any business. And it's create three different kinds of content because people will get bored, I feel like, if it's one. So the first layer of content was, I'm an 18-year-old kid starting a business. Come follow me on this journey.
Okay.
Like I would do, it was called Wednesday night tax chats, where I would literally go live on TikTok and just talk to people while I would do my taxes. I'd be cussing myself out because I had no idea what I was doing,
So
but
you're
I
just
learned
kinda
how to.
documenting behind the scenes, basically.
Totally. Learn how to start a business. The second one was funny content about other restaurants. So our whole thing was the food wars, which was, okay, I have 1,000 followers. IHOP has 6,000 followers. I'm going to create the bucket wings army, and we're going to grow to be bigger than IHOP. So I would do a bunch of videos making fun of IHOP or saying their food was bad. Or like one of them, for example, was we took our huge bucket wings poster and we did like a mini protest outside of like an IHOP. So like funny stuff like that. Like, and then people would follow me though. And people want a movement. They want to be part of
They're
something.
cheering
These
for the
people,
underdog.
they're cheering for the underdog. They were cheering for the Bucket Wings Army. That's what it was called.
And
And we
and this
just
was on what platform? Only on TikTok, right?
TikTok,
Yeah.
TikTok. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
So we're going on TikTok. We're going on TikTok. We're going on TikTok. And then the third prong is just be funny, right? My restaurant,
Entertainment.
when we eventually got employees, they were in all the TikToks too. But at the beginning, right, like our biggest one was, like I said, I like to create teams and create movement. So our funny ones that to this day are still the two biggest videos that always go viral is the boneless wings versus normal wings and blue cheese versus ranch.
Huh.
And we created comedic stuff. Like last year, one of my most viral videos was I got a group of my friends together and we did a ban blue cheese march in Chapel Hill. So we had posters and we were running around Chapel Hill with ban blue cheese signs, getting people to sign a petition. We got 2,000 signatures to ban blue cheese in the county where Chapel Hill is, and like just documented it. And it's comedy. So the comedy around food, the whole like bucket wings army, and showing people kind of the background of the seriousness of creating a business and showing off the restaurant. um those three together was my kind of like recipe for TikTok to work, and luckily it did.
Let me ask you this, Will. Say somebody's listening to this and they're a business owner or something like that, and they're like, "Dang, this kid, he blew up on TikTok," and they're frustrated because what you're saying sounds so simple. And do you think that somebody that is listening to this that you know can't grow their social media platform. Do you think that maybe some of these ideas people don't implement because they don't have time, or do you think that they don't do it because some of this stuff is embarrassing? Like, it's hard to go out in public and do some of this stuff. What do you think?
Both of those are very true. The time one, I'll touch on both. The time one, if you want social media to be successful, you gotta commit.
You gotta
I
put
was
work into it.
posting I was posting 4 times a day at peak bucket wings on TikTok.
Do you think you can just hire someone? Like, would you be comfortable? I mean, you're trying to take over the world, man. Like, let's say, 2 years from now, the Will that, the scrappy high school Will is not the same Will that has, 20 employees. What do you think that you'll always just make time for it because you think it's that important? Or do you think that you can hire it out and be just as effective?
I'm actually in that problem right now. I have stopped posting on TikTok a lot because I don't want to say I'm dealing with bigger things, but right, I'm meeting with athletes to sign them to our brand. I'm meeting with people, investors, right? I don't have time to be on TikTok 3 hours a day. But my pride is I kind of blew up the TikTok. I ran it. I'm not ready to hand it off yet. And
Yeah.
I'm in that kind of weird point. So about time, I think, you got to commit to it early on. And if you want to hire someone, totally do it. You just got to know they're going to bring passion. On the embarrassment side, that is a very true statement. I have dealt with a lot. My friends and people make fun of my TikTok all the time.
Yeah, to me, it's not the stupid comments or whatever. Like, and really, like, I've done my fair share of like videos and stuff like that. That somebody will be like, "That's not right" or "That's stupid" or whatever. But that doesn't even bother me because I don't even know those people. But it's the people that or your family or whatever. They're like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, the TikTok stuff," or whatever. That seems like that's more prevalent to me. Is that the same for you or different?
100%, without a doubt. And just kind of taking it a step broader, like, I don't care what any random person says about my business or my TikTok or me, right? I get hate comments all the time. What is this kid doing? This is so cringy. This is like bad content. I like to clap back on TikTok. That's like part of us. Like, we clap
Yeah,
back all the time. What hurts me is when someone I know makes fun of the business or says, "Oh my gosh, that's so weird you're doing that," or like, "Why are you like missing this to go film a TikTok?" or like, "Your business like is not all that." Like, I don't care if someone says my business is not all that. I don't care if it's a random person on the internet. If it's my best friend, that's really what hurts a lot.
right.
People close to me dishing out kind of the hatred, I guess you'd kind of say.
Hey, I can assure you, man, looking, I'm only a little over 10 years ahead of you, but I can assure you that when those people's resumes come across your desk, that they want to work for you, I promise it'll be a
I
sweet, sweet redemption.
I've already experienced that a couple times, and it's
Exactly.
pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome. Well, man, so let's fast forward even farther. So you
Go
get it
for it.
up and running, you get your website, things are, they get stable a bit. Tell me where you're at now.
Oh, it's been a ride. It's been awesome. So right now,
We're not freaking done. You act like it's over. Like, what are you
it's
doing?
not it's
You're in
not
the
it's not
middle
it's
of
not
it.
over yet. So the Bucket Wings in Wisconsin, we've got great partnerships with like bars and stuff where we kind of like our wings are reaching more people than ever. This summer we had 13 employees on payroll working at the restaurant.
Still
Um,
out of the same kitchen, right?
Same as that kitchen. The only
Okay.
thing is, we now have outdoor seating because we created partnerships with other businesses right near us.
Oh,
Um,
genius.
but the whole kind of thing is again, I don't pay for any of it, right? The bar benefits from wings, so I'm just kind of using it for free. And so we have outdoor seating. We do takeout. We do boat delivery. So like we'll run your food a block to your boat at the lake because
I
we're a
saw that on
block
your
off the lake.
website. Yeah. That's
So that
crazy. I
create
saw
that
that.
was very successful this summer. Um,
Dude, you're
and
a
so that's
one-trick pony with the lake deliveries, huh?
the late delivery. It's nobody seems to get that it's a great thing. We can charge someone $4 to walk a block and they don't blink an eye because they don't have to get off their boat. And if they have a boat, they're probably willing to pay the $4. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. And so then so that's that. We had a phenomenal summer. This summer really took it to the next level. The first summer we kind of closed when I went to college a little bit. Um, and we kind of reopened for this summer. We didn't really know what expectations were going to be. and we blew it out of the water. People loved it. People wanted us to come back. We hired more employees. That partnership, we have a great partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of America. And a big thing this year is we gave back to the community a lot. So that's where Bucket Wings is in Wisconsin right now. Oh, you asked where I am right now. We are looking to open our first franchise in North Carolina. So that's kind of what I'm spending most of my day before school and after school is opening a little joint here. We're not looking to do wings. We're looking to do chicken and waffles.
Hmm.
Um, a little southern touch to Bucket Wings. And the profitability there seems pretty nice. So that's kind of the goal right now. And along with that is just grow the brand through we're doing a lot through NIL and college athletes, sponsorships, kind of getting back on social media grind. But um, the goal is to keep it growing and to keep it youth oriented for sure.
What, like somebody like you, I think somebody can look at you and be like, freaking kid, like he's not scared of anything, all this, that type of
Not
stuff.
true.
That was my question. What scares you? What worries you or gives you anxiety?
I fear failure a lot. A lot of people, like you said, look at me and they say, "This kid goes out and does this all. He must like not be scared at all." That is not the case. I get a lot of anxiety. I'm very scared when I make big decisions. I'm very lucky though that I've assembled a great group of people older that I kind of have just there to validate and make sure I understand that I am making the best decision. But I fear and I fear failure like a lot. I feel it a lot. Um, and right now, what I'll say is kind of the biggest thing that I'm going through. I'm going through a lot right now, and this is the biggest thing is when I started Bucket Wings. I was an 18-year-old kid that went out and did it himself. If I had failed miserably, I still probably would have gotten some recognition of people saying, "Hey, look at this 18-year-old kid who went out there and he tried it."
Right.
Having a business behind me, having a following, having the stigma of the Wing King, of this 18-year-old kid who's done it all, right? I'm so nervous to go open this next restaurant because if it fails, that embarrassment and that hit to my like, oh, I can do it, that's where I'm really going to be tested. And I'm almost excited for myself to see what happens because I'm, it's been too long before since I've really been tested on how strong I can fight through it. Um, but I definitely fear that a lot.
I think that's real common, Will, at least for me, in every stage of my life so far. Because if you continue to challenge yourself or do different things, A, it's going to be different, and that's nerve wracking. Trying new things, but B, you're constantly going to be leveling up your responsibility, which is going to make everything riskier. So, like me, when I was in college or whatever, and started little businesses with my roommates and stuff like that, that was fine. But the repercussions of that was like, okay, I'll have a little bit less money because I wasted it on, whatever it might be. But then when you get married, like when I got married, there's like, then my wife will be disappointed. Now that I'm married and have a kids and my wife doesn't work outside the home, now it's like, okay, well, I'm pretty responsible for the well-being, so I think you just constantly are always leveling up your responsibility, and hopefully you're growing and doing different stuff, so that anxiety and that nervousness really, at least in my experience, never goes away. So it's amazing that you've learned to compartmentalize it and put it in perspective and to push past it, because that's the hardest part.
Stepping through it, stepping through it is the hardest part, but there's no feeling like it. I mean, I know you've got businesses and stuff. That feeling, that's like literally the feeling I chase whenever I'm in business is I love hitting obstacles because I know that once I get through it, it's what it's all about. It's literally what it is all about.
You
Seeing
love
this
cold
summer,
calling for the adrenaline rush, don't you?
I absolutely love it. There's
I
nothing
knew
more
it.
I love than working in the restaurants, right? I remember this summer there was one reflection I had. I was sitting up on the balcony at sitting outside and we were totally packed. We were totally packed. And I just looked at it and it was the first time at Bucket Wings I truly was like, holy shit. Sorry, holy crap. But like, holy crap. Like I built this. Like I actually did this. It was the craziest thing I've ever had was overlooking it and just seeing it. Um, it was
What's
nuts.
something that maybe you started the business and you thought, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, that now you've changed your mind on um, since you began?
It's a good question. Something I thought that I changed.
Anything you thought that, like, I'm going to do this with my employees, or I'm going to do this in marketing, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to rule the world, and maybe I'll just rule the United States. Or, I mean, have you changed your mind on anything since you began that um, that you once
Yes
believed?
and no. I fully believed that I was gonna do this 100% by myself. You always listen, especially when you're listening to a lot of, like, people talking about business, like, the lone wolf, you gotta go out and, like, you gotta do it. That was my mentality in the beginning, and now, as I grow and get bigger, I understand that it's impossible to take it on by yourself.
You realize
So
how
I've
important employees are and stuff,
And I'm in North Carolina. If I want to make money from my restaurants in Wisconsin, I have to hand it off, right? So I
right?
have managers and supervisors. I'm a very controlling person. It was very hard for me to really trust someone and find someone to give it to them. But the same thing you talk about, like the whole like ruin the world, did that change? To keep my mentality, to keep my working 13-hour days and not sleeping and working in the restaurant, I have not changed my mentality about ruining the world, about creating the biggest business and being a billionaire and all that stuff. Even though I kind of see those goals are probably unrealistic, I'm not changing that in the slightest. So there's a lot of stuff I have changed, but a lot of stuff I need to keep thinking about to keep me going.
So I want to congratulate you and give you a few compliments, man. First off, the creativity in starting the business. I read, a little bit online and stuff like that, but hearing you talk about the things you did to get the business started and all that was um, really exciting and refreshing. And I think, like I told you before we started recording, the majority of my audience is under the age of 35. I think is like almost all of the audience is under 35. Um, and so I think that hearing this is kind of a refreshing eye opener of what you can do if you put your mind to it, and it's refreshing to hear people that are excited about business and excited to try new and different things. So I want to congratulate you on all that. If you had to give one piece of advice though to somebody that maybe is just starting out, or somebody that say they're listening to this and they're 30 years old and they've been in business but maybe they've plateaued or something like that, if you had to boil everything that you know so far down to one piece of advice, what would you give to that person?
My one piece of advice truly is, if you want something, if you put your head down and you just do it, you can do it. That my one piece of advice is truly, if you know, I want to talk about when you kind of brought this up, social media and stuff, but boiling it down, it truly is my one piece of advice is put your head down and see that it can work and just grind and just like work. If you put all of your intensity, 100% of your try into something and you do it constantly and do it enough, you can totally do it. Doesn't matter what age you are. If you're 30, you don't have a business, you want to start a business. If you have an idea that you think works and you just put every breath and every second of time you have that you have free into that, you can do it. I mean, I'm an 18-year-old who worked at Subway a year and a half. I'm 19. I worked at Subway 2 years ago, and I mean, here I am.
Do you think that, sorry, one last, I said that was last question, but one last question. Do you think that now seeing some of your friends and seeing your mentality and seeing where you want to go and the future you want to have, I've had these ideas and these, things that I can't stop thinking about, and I can't stop thinking about building this business or that business or whatever it might be, or how to change this or that. And I talked to some of my friends about it and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And they're like, "Yeah, we're going on vacation in 3 weeks," and stuff like that. It's almost like a totally different mentality. Do you think that everyone is really cut out to be a business owner now that you've kind of worked with some of your friends and seen other people's personalities?
Absolutely not. I think that I think that anybody can own a business if they kind of change and get the right mentality. I think anybody can get the right mentality, but I don't think everybody has the right mentality
Born
currently.
naturally with it.
100%. Um, I see my friends and I tell them I'm not going out because I have a meeting or I'm gonna go work, or for example, this summer, right? I was literally working in Wisconsin, but I lived in Chicago, so like I'm like I need to go drive up to check in on my restaurants on a Thursday night, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's so stupid! Like you don't need to do that." I don't need to do that, but I want to do that. There's
Right.
there's there's a mentality there that I think you know you got to callous yourself and you really got to you gotta grind. But I definitely think anybody can get there, but I don't think everybody's born with it whatsoever. I think I definitely meet people here and there that I personally would never start a business with, and I don't think are cut out for the rigor of owning a business at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Well, Will, the time has come to end it. Any last thoughts?
No, I want to say thank you so much for having me on this. For everybody listening, go out there and start a business. Like you can do it. 7 grand. Start a business. You should definitely do it. Doesn't matter how old you are.
The Will promise 7 grand and you're in the bucket wing business. Awesome. Thanks so much for being on.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Better Business Podcast with me, your host, Steve Cook. Starting or growing a business is hard work, so I hope that today's advice made it just a little bit easier for you. We'll be sharing more about this exact topic all this week on my social platforms. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or if you would like to get a personalized blog post from me on this topic, you can join my email list and I will send you an email once a week. You can check the show notes to subscribe to that or find me on my website, whatever's easier for you. Now get out there and go grow a better business with this advice from today's Real Pros. Thank you for listening.